Welcome to the Nation ASEAN Plus. I'm Elaine Rabla at Wisma Bernama in Kuala Lumpur. Now, every weekend, we bring you stories that made the week and insightful perspectives from across a dynamic and diverse region. We've had some significant developments in the ASEAN bloc this week. That's not all. Shortly, I'll be speaking to Ho Na, news anchor at CGTN, who will be joining us virtually from Beijing, China, to talk about His Majesty, the King's historic visit to China. Now, we begin with this week's big stories right here in Malaysia. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim emphasised the need for every ministry to make solid and comprehensive preparations, with a few months left before Malaysia takes over the role of ASEAN 2025 chairman from Laos. Through a Facebook post, he said Malaysia needs to be a great leader by putting together various programs that really have a profound impact on the ASEAN community as a whole. Laos will hand over the chairmanship of ASEAN at the ASEAN Summit from October 8 to 11. Malaysia has previously held the position of ASEAN chairman 4 times in 1977, 1997, 2005 and 2015. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia has achieved 43% of all 248 indicators of the latest Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, far above the world average of 17%. According to him, the performance is a sign that Malaysia has successfully faced the challenges through reforms, but it is not a permanent guarantee. Therefore, he reaffirmed Malaysia's commitment to achieving SDGs in the best way. Anwar added that the Madani government is deeply committed to addressing issues of values, humanity and compassion, going beyond the current major pillars of the SDGs, which emphasize crucial economic, social and environmental imperatives. Still with the Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the halal industry can complement the Islamic economy as it is inclusive and comprehensive and gives a positive impact on the broader community. He noted that the halal industry engages all segments of the community, including the farmers, fishermen, micro, small and medium enterprises, as well as retailers. In his speech during the launch of the Malaysia International Halal Showcase, MIHAS 2024, Anwar also expressed his appreciation to several foreign leaders, particularly from countries he recently visited, for their strong support of the halal industry and for acknowledging Malaysia's efforts in promoting it. Malaysia and Tajikistan will continue to enhance bilateral relations, especially in the economic sector, education and culture. Malaysia's Deputy Prime Minister, Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, said the matters were discussed when he received a courtesy call from the Ambassador of Tajikistan to Malaysia on Wednesday. According to Ahmad Zahid, Malaysia and Tajikistan share many common values, and closer cooperation will open up new opportunities for both countries. Next, according to the Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation, or MATRADE, Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship next year presents an excellent opportunity for the country to expand and strengthen trade relations, not only with ASEAN members, but also with neighbouring ASEAN Plus countries. Its chairman, Datuk Seri Rizal Nine American, emphasised that ASEAN is Malaysia's largest export market, accounting for nearly 26% of trade, while approximately 18% of Malaysia's total global exports are directed to the region. The Brazilian ambassador to Malaysia, Ari Quintela, highlighted that Malaysia's interest in joining the BRICS intergovernmental organization as a strategic economic decision rather than a political statement. In a recent interview on The Nation recently, the ambassador addressed the concerns from Western observers in Malaysia about the country's intention to join BRICS. He emphasized that Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's decision was driven by strategic economic considerations for the country. He also said that Brazil welcomes very much Malaysia's candidacy to become a member of BRICS and personally believes Malaysia fulfills all the requirements to be a member of BRICS. Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) and the National Bank of Cambodia (NBC) have launched a cross-border quick response or QR payment linkage between Cambodia and Malaysia. According to BNM, consumers and merchants in both countries will be able to make and receive instant cross-border QR payments under this initiative. BNM said the linkage will be implemented in 2 phases. In the first phase, Cambodian users will be able to make instant retail payments in Malaysia by scanning Do It Now QR codes displayed by merchants using their mobile payment applications. In the second phase, BNM said Malaysian users travelling to Cambodia will be able to make seamless payments to Cambodian merchants by scanning KH QR codes using the mobile payment applications of participating financial institutions. BNM noted that this initiative will drive trade, boost tourism, and promote economic growth in both nations. His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim, King of Malaysia, arrived in Beijing on Thursday for a 4-day state visit to China at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. According to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, this is Sultan Ibrahim's first visit to a non-ASEAN country since assuming office as the head of state in January 2024. According to Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Jian, China and Malaysia have a long-standing traditional friendship and are good neighbours and partners in mutual assistance and win-win cooperation. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Malaysia and the year of China-Malaysia friendship. And I'm off for a break. When I come back, I'll be speaking with Ho Na, news anchor at CGTN, about His Majesty the King's historic visit to China. Don't wander off. I'll be right back. This is The Nation ASEAN Plus. And welcome back. You're watching The Nation ASEAN Plus. His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim, the King of Malaysia, is on a 4-day state visit to China from September 19th to the 22nd of September. This visit marks 50 years of diplomatic relations between Malaysia and China and aims to strengthen ties in areas such as trade, infrastructure, and community engagement. It is the first visit by a Malaysian monarch to China in over a decade, making it a significant event for both nations. Now, at this time, joining us from Beijing is Ho Na from CGTN, and we'll explore what this visit could mean for Malaysia's standing in the region and the broader implications for connectivity and economic development. Hello, Ho Na. Thanks for joining us. Now, I'd like to begin with this.
Hello, Elaine. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Now, what is the significance of His Majesty's visit to China, and how is it being received by both the Chinese government and the Chinese people, Ho Na?
Of course, Elaine, as you mentioned, the King's visit to China is definitely huge for both nations. The 2 countries mark the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties. The King will be warmly welcomed by Chinese people as it is his first visit to a non-ASEAN country since assuming office at the head of state. President Xi Jinping will hold people here in Beijing. The 2 heads of state will hold talks, and Premier Li Qiang will also meet with the king. Well, of course, a series of cultural activities will also be held. The king will visit Beijing Foreign Studies University, and actually, on May the 31st this year, President Xi Jinping and the king have already exchanged congratulations on the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the 2 countries. President Xi said China and Malaysia are neighbors with a millennium-old friendship, friends whose hearts are connected, and partners for win-win cooperation. Elaine.
Thank you so much, Hona. We're looking forward to being able to strengthen our ties as we celebrate this 50 years. Now, as Malaysia and China celebrate 50 years of diplomatic relations, what milestones stand out in the relationship between the two nations over the last 5 decades?
Well, Elaine, there's so many areas that stood out. First of all, China has been Malaysia's largest trading partner for 15 consecutive years and a major source of investment. Bilateral trade volume has surged from less than 200 million US dollars half a century ago to over 190 billion US dollars last year. Remember, that's a 950-fold increase. Meanwhile, the mutually visa exemption between China and Malaysia, which took effect in December last year, has benefited travel between the two countries. The number of Chinese tourists visiting Malaysia in 2023 has exceeded 1.47 million, making China the largest source of tourists from Malaysia outside of Asean. Since the start of this year, so more than 275,000 Chinese tourists have visited Malaysia each month. So, Elaine, you can judge from the numbers that huge progress and remarkable achievements have been made during the past half a decade. Elaine?
Definitely. We obviously love visiting each other. Now, infrastructure development is a key focus of the King's visit. How are discussions around Malaysia-China cooperation in this area shaping up, particularly with China's Belt and Road Initiative in mind, Hona?
Right. Economic and infrastructure cooperation have always been the cornerstone of China-Malaysia ties. Over the past decade, the BRI, as you mentioned, has emerged as a pivotal catalyst for the driving and shaping the robust economic collaboration between the two nations. Over the past decade, China has invested in a diverse array of projects in Malaysia through the BRI, including the East Coast Railway Link, the Malaysia-China Kuantan Industrial Park, and the Trans-Sabah gas pipeline, and various others. Well, these initiatives have generated significant development and transformed the country's social and economic landscape. Well, a great power rivalry and geopolitical tension have also posed challenges, with trade tariffs and sanctions disrupting supply chains and undermining economic growth. Malaysia, along with other ASEAN countries in general, remains committed to a policy of open and free trade, actively engaging with China and all other relevant stakeholders dedicated to fostering the common good. In fact, since its inception, the BRI has evolved beyond the conventional infrastructure focus, expanding into diverse sub-initiatives such as the Health Silk Road, the Green Silk Road, and the Digital Silk Road. And for example, the Health Silk Road, for instance, has become part of BRI framework in Malaysia, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. China's assistance in supplying vaccines not only aided Malaysia in managing the crisis, but also facilitated the development of China's own vaccine capabilities. So China has committed to supporting Malaysia's vaccine research and production, reflecting a collaborative effort aligned with the Health Silk Road's goal of enhancing global public health. Elaine.
Thank you so much for that. And we are just beyond trade and economic partners. Let's talk about cultural. What role does cultural exchange play in the broader Malaysia-China relationship? And how can both nations further strengthen people-to-people ties?
Elaine, I believe the culture that we share are connected. As we mentioned, especially the mutually visa exemption policy has promoted the recovery and the growth of airline businesses and tourism between China and Malaysia. It will undoubtedly further promote people-to-people exchanges. Actually, as I mentioned in May earlier this year, when President Xi Jinping exchanged congratulatory messages with your king, well, President Xi said he actually received a letter from Malaysian students studying at Tianjin University in China who are determined to be the messengers and promoters of China-Malaysia friendship and aspire to use their knowledge to help build the China-Malaysia community with a shared future. Well, President Xi said he's really pleased to see the course of friendship between the two countries has inheritors. Actually, people-to-people exchanges have been increasingly frequent, Personally, I got a lot of people, a lot of very nice friends from Malaysia who are working in the health sector, in the film industry, who are very passionate by bringing our two cultures closer together. So I believe after the King's visit this time, people-to-people exchanges and cultural exchanges will be further enhanced. So definitely, this is going to be a huge visit for the two countries. Back to you, Elaine.
Thank you so much. I think we're looking forward to connecting further, connecting better as we foster better ties. And that's all the time that we have now with Ho Na, news anchor at CGTN. Thank you for your insight, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon. And next, we'll take a short breather. We'll come back with more updates across ASEAN. Stay tuned. This is The Nation ASEAN Plus. Thanks for staying with us. We continue with the latest development in Indonesia. Now, on Tuesday, Indonesian authorities said they arrested 6 people on drug charges on the tourist island of Bali since July. 4 could face execution under the country's strict drug laws. According to provincial anti-narcotics chief, 2 Thai nationals were arrested upon arrival at Bali's Ngurah Rai airport on the 8th of September with 1.9 kilograms of methamphetamines mixed with ecstasy powder packed in 108 sachets of a fruit-flavored collagen drink and 20 pills of the party drug ecstasy. Police later arrested 2 Indonesians on accusations of ordering the drugs from Thailand. Indonesia has dozens of convicted drug smugglers on death row. Its last executions were carried out in July 2016 when an Indonesian and 3 foreigners were shot by firing squad. According to its Deputy Health Minister, Indonesia is currently short of 120,000 general practitioners. Antara News Agency reported that this gap is measured against the ideal doctor-to-population ratio recommended by the World Health Organization, highlighting the ongoing challenge in the country's healthcare system. Currently, on average, medical faculties in Indonesia only produce 12,000 general practitioners per year. The Deputy Health Minister also reminded that in the absence of intervention from political policies or government programs, the need for 120,000 new doctors can only be achieved in the next decade. Last Friday on September 13, the Environment and Forestry Ministry said Indonesia has welcomed the birth of a baby Javan rhinoceros named Iris, a new member of one of the world's most critically endangered species. Iris is the mother's firstborn calf and is estimated to be 3 to 5 months old. Javan rhinoceros, distinguished by their single horn, were once found throughout Northeast India and Southeast Asia. They are now among the most threatened of the 5 rhino species, mainly due to poaching. According to the International Rhino Foundation, there are only about 80 Javan rhinoceros globally, all in Indonesia. We now look at what's happening in Thailand. Thailand's Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra said the launch of Thailand's 13.5 billion handout program later this month is certain to give a lift to the economy as the government promised more stimulus measures ahead. The government will distribute about 145 billion baht, or a third of the overall amount, from September 25th to low-income earners and vulnerable groups to kickstart the stimulus drive for Southeast Asia's second largest economy, which grew just 1.9% last year, far adrift of peers. Less than 40 million Thais are expected to sign up to receive payments of 10,000 baht, mostly via a smartphone application, to be spent within 6 months in their communities. Now, in a harrowing scene captured on police body cam footage, a 64-year-old Thai woman was found trapped and helpless, entwined in the coils of a python in Thailand's Samut Prakan on Tuesday. Footage showed Arunro lying on the tiled floor of her house with the python, one of the largest snakes in Thailand, wrapped around her body near damp, overgrown bushes. After 2 hours, police and officials rescued Arom, who was then taken to the hospital for treatment. The Department of Disease Control reported 26 deaths from snake bites in Thailand in 2023. The reticulated python, one of the longest snakes in the world, is commonly found across Southeast Asia, including Thailand. And carrying an aura of cuteness like no other baby pygmy hippopotamus, 2-month-old Mudeng is drawing in more traffic to Thailand's Khao Keng Open Zoo than ever before. Mudeng, Thai for bouncing pig, catapulted to fame when videos of the bouncy bovine went viral on social media just around 2 weeks ago. Mudeng's TikTok account now has 2.6 million followers, and her fame has grown way beyond the walls of her enclosure, inspiring artwork and confectionery creations by die-hard fans. And that's all the time that we have. This has been your weekend insight into ASEAN. Stay informed with the Nation ASEAN Plus only on Bernama TV. To keep yourself updated, log on to bernama.com. This will also link you to our social media platforms as well. I'm Eleanor. Thanks for tuning in.